Hi everyone. Hope you can hear me loud and clear. Hi Sunny, we've got Hart, we've got Richard and Mike saying hello on the chat, so thanks. Hope you guys are all okay. And as always, we'll let everybody else join us for a few minutes before we start properly, so feel free to chat away. Let us know how your Easter weekend has gone, with the bank holidays too, although it's not different really this year, is it much? But oh, lovely, thanks Richard. But yeah, hopefully you've managed to enjoy the good weather we have had, and gone a bit cooler, hasn't it, last few days, but warming up again today as well. So hopefully we'll get back to, actually looks like it's pretty good weather for this time of year, so so that's quite nice. I think this year people are going to have the best gardens you've ever seen in your life, cleanest cars, lowest mileage on the cars as well. That's car I've got run some kind of scheme whereby you have a certain amount of mileage per year, and then you have to pay if you go over that, but it'll certainly be very much under that this year, so so that's good. So yeah, we've got steady trickle of people joining us again as always. Remember, I edit out this start bit anyway, and when we sort of start a bit more formally, that's where the recording will kick in. But yeah, again, quite interesting that people are picking up the recordings still. Mostly people I know, people from either the Warwick courses I do or some kind of link to that. But there's still a good number of people tuning in that YouTube tells me aren't from that and from wider afield. So it's quite interesting, yeah. Use of the garden harps, yeah, absolutely. It's if you have a garden, then it's a good thing to have. If you don't, or for those that don't, yeah, it's a different set of difficulties, really, isn't it? But yeah. So we've got a couple of people coming in and out as well, so hopefully they'll get in and stay in. But yeah, I hope you're okay, and by the looks of it, we'll continue with this social distancing and staying at home business for a few more weeks yet, at least. I did have from when we went to Menorca last year, we did have a chat with some estate agents in some Spanish estate agents. So they kept me on the mailing list, and they recently emailed me just generally as part of the list. But they were saying that the Spanish government had told estate agents in Spain to start doing viewings again in a couple of weeks' time. So that's quite interesting, because I think we're probably 2 or 3 maybe weeks behind them anyway. So maybe they're starting to come out the other side of sort of social distancing and isolation. So maybe 2 or 3 weeks is quite a good indicator for us to start with, however slowly we do that, but maybe that's where we're heading. So interesting to see how other countries are in relation to us as well. No worries, Richard. Yeah. Bless. Hope everything's okay. So as I say, welcome to another session of the YouTube streaming. And if you remember this, the idea here was just for me to almost just broadcast what I'd be doing normally. You guys can join in if and when and how you want to, but just to give us a bit of that protected time, that regularity, to keep grounded, keep a mindful sense of purpose. And so, well, we've got Wednesday today. So I've scheduled a session for tomorrow and Friday as well. And then Monday, unbelievably, I'll be back at work. So there'll be certain structured things during the day, even though I'm not at the university physically. Some of you might be joining on some of the online mindfulness courses there. So if you are, so some challenges ahead, some navigation needed. But as I say to my students, we'll get there. We'll get there together, and we'll see how things look come 4-6 weeks times. See, hopefully things are a little bit more back to normal. But today being Wednesday, and I've had some time doing different things over Easter and some more faith-based meditations and such things. So today, what I'd normally be doing is just taking the time to be still, to ground myself, to reconnect with now, and just to do some observation, really, what's going on around me, as we always do in my meditations, but also how am I, as I'm sitting here now on this Wednesday, going forward to finishing this week off too. So we'll do a bit of work on that today, and we have some golden nuggets, some nice sayings in mindfulness that help us to kind of conceptualize what we're trying to do with different practices. We've used a couple if you've been with us before, but for today, the main ones really are going to be this idea of noticing in neutral. And it's a nice little phrase if you think about it, because often we notice something and then there's a habitual response. And what we want to do is just come out of gear, so that when we notice, we don't need to do anything about it. So we don't need to move forward with anything. But also the reverse part of that sort of analogy is quite interesting too. So when we're in neutral, it means we're not in reverse. So we don't need to back away from anything either. And that's quite important. So we've got that urge, haven't we, to either do something about it or just deny it, block it out, which may involve doing something as a sort of defense mechanism. But in the neutral state that we want, whatever emerges, we want to notice and accept, and then choose just to let it go. And so we're doing a bit of work on that. So you'll hear me use the phrase noticing neutral. We've also used this phrase restful alertness, so a more Western psychological phrase for the Buddhist concept of sort of samatha, the slowing of the mind and the body, just creating capacity. Doesn't necessarily mean that we're nice and relaxed, but hopefully we will today. But even if I'm working with somebody or you're in a situation where it's high energy or you're feeling tense or stressed, it's okay to feel that way. But what we want to do is declutter so we've got space to deal with it. So that restful alertness can be there, that resilience, that space and capacity that we've been working on too. So we'll do a bit of work with that today. We'll just see how things are sitting on this Wednesday, how we are on this Wednesday, and that'll be a nice sort of observation to do then, to navigate whatever comes up today and the rest of the week. And remember also to lean into those positives when they come up, to engage in the moments, even if they're little snippets of moments, but to engage in those positive moments, just to bring that balance that with modern mindfulness we're really working on. So similar to what we've always done before, but we're just going to spend a little bit more time with the natural breath, and then we'll bring the mindful breath in for those that want to. Again, we'll do it from a point of observation, just sitting in the moment, bringing the mind back whenever it wanders. Please remember it's going to wander. And, so don't judge yourself, don't feel you're doing it wrong. But when it does wander, as soon as you've caught it, which may be immediately, or it may be some time once you've sort of wandered into a daydream, but as soon as you do notice, I've wandered away, that's your opportunity. Just bring it gently back to now and just pick up with the same process again. So as always, if you want to make yourselves nice and relaxed wherever you are, just finding a good posture in particular, making sure things are decluttered around you, making sure that you're happy in your personal space. And if you'd like to close your eyes, please do so. But if you want to keep them open or open them at any time, as I always say, then you go with whatever's comfortable for you. But remember always that first step of mindfulness, wherever we are, whatever we're doing, the first step is always to pause, to notice now. And with me, we always go outside, then inside. So let's do that again today. Let's just notice the things that are going on around us right now. And in these sessions, we've used things like sound, we've used temperature, we've used textures. If you've got your eyes open, anything you can see. And so we're noticing in neutral. There's a couple of ways we can help the mind here. One is when we notice something, just engage with it, but then move on to notice something else quite quickly. So you're giving your mind something new to focus upon before the habitual responses kick in. And we've also used the phrase novel distinctions. So novel distinction is just almost looking for a contrast. So let's say at the moment I'm just looking out into next door's garden. I can see a lot of green. So maybe I'm looking then for a different colour there. It's natural green leaves. So maybe I'm going to move my attention to the concrete fence post. Different colour, different texture, human-made, a distinction. And the other thing that we can do to help the mind not to wander, not to bring these habitual responses when we're noticing now, is to push our attention a little deeper into whatever it is that we're observing. So I'll give you the example of the leaves again. I'm looking at the leaves, I can see the green fine. Then actually if I push my awareness further into that, I can begin to see patterns. I can see different shades of green in the leaves. I can see where the sun is hitting some leaves and not others, so there's a distinction there. So wherever you are, whatever you're noticing around you now, what are the distinctions? What are the details when you push your awareness that little bit deeper? And of course we take the exact same process but begin to shine the light a little bit more inside of ourselves. How are we right now? We've said temperature is a good sort of middle ground to notice. And so we can try to notice a cool part of the body right now. For me, it's my knees for some reason. That's okay. All I need to do is notice it. And then switch and look for a warm part of the body. The palms of my hands at the moment are where my mind went first. See if you can find it for yourself. And then of course we want to observe how we are right here, right now. Not how the mind thinks we are, or expects us to be, or even tells us we are. Let's see if we can move the mind out of the equation and just notice how the body is and how the breath is. So just noticing the natural breath, Try not to change it. Try not to commentate on it. And try not to analyze or judge it. But simply noticing the features of this natural breath as we do. Starting with the pace, just notice whether your breath is a faster breath or a slower breath right now. Just notice the depth of the breath for us right now. Is it a deeper breath? Is it a shallower breath? Accepting whatever we find and just letting it be. Noticing the way the body is moving with this natural breath, our natural rhythm of being right now. Let's see if we can notice maybe the front of the body as the biggest part that's moving with the breath. But also let's see if we can notice the smallest movement with the breath. And let's just sit with the natural breath for a little bit longer today. Just moving the mind between the rhythm of the breath and any external stimuli that we have. Bringing the mind back if it wanders. But let's just sit in the moments as they come and go, both outside of us and inside of us. Just letting them be, going with the flow of experience for another minute or so. Remember, we're still noticing in neutral. We're still observing ourselves and what's going on around us. We're just trying to be grounded in it, just embedded, just taking this observer role. As you do this quite naturally, you might find that some parts of the body start to relax. You might find that the mind and emotions start to relax a little too. But you might also become more aware of parts of the body that are more tense. I've just noticed my shoulders in particular are holding a lot of tension. You might notice an emotion that's still there once you've slowed everything down. You might notice a thought, more than one thought. We've just settled everything down so we can see what's apparent to us what's on the mind at the moment. Then we can do a little bit of work on them to finish today's session off. So for me, I did notice the shoulders were holding some tension, so I'm going to do a little bit work there. But just noticing yourself, is there anywhere in the body that could do with a little bit of help just to relax and let go? And if there is, you can use the deeper mindful breath rhythm that we've worked on, whatever that is for you, but a deeper breath than your natural one. And as we've done before, the in-breath is where we notice the part of the body, the out-breaths are where we release and relax. I'm going to spend a bit of time on the body, but if you're nice and relaxed anyway, you can just stay with the natural breath too, just noticing now. But for me, I'm taking that second step of mindfulness. I've slowed things down, I've paused, I've noticed. And what I've noticed is the shoulders could do with a little bit of relaxing. So I'm going to take a few moments to do that, and I invite you to take a few moments to release any tension that you might have. And then if we need to, we can also work on the mind in the same way. If there's any thoughts that you're having, things that are popping up in the mind that you could do with letting go of, you could do exactly the same, keeping the big breath rhythm, noticing the thoughts as it comes up with the in-breath, being quite assertive with the out-breath. Remember to accept the thought. We're in neutral, so we're not doing anything with the thought. We're not going forward with it, but also we don't want to back away from it. So allow it to have its time, but then with your out-breath, try to release it, calming the mind for another look at it whenever you need to. And today my mind is quite calm. Sometimes it just happens that way. If yours is busy, keep working on moving the thoughts away, but sometimes you find your mind is quite calm naturally. And that's a place you can either use that then to be creative or actually bring a thought to solve a problem or work through it. For me today, I'm simply going to move my mind back outside of myself and just enjoy watching the garden as things come and go, as moments come and go. Whatever you need to do for the final minute or so, you can take your mindfulness there today. And I'm just coming back to the shoulders every now and again as well. Seems that tension's trying to build back up there. If you find the same, just keep bringing the mind back, just keep working on them. just notice ourselves once again as we begin the process of coming out of the meditation. And just pause and just notice what it's been like for us today. Mind, body, and emotion. Remember, not in a judgmental way, not in an outcome way, but in an experiential way. It's okay if the mind's been busy or the body's been tense, because sometimes that's how it is. It's okay if it's been calm and relaxed, because sometimes that's how it is. Most of life happens in between those, moving backwards and forwards. Our job was to observe how it actually was, and in the observation it gives us a chance to bring some positive change. But in shining the light on how it was, in noticing it in ourselves, it allows the mind to have a better understanding the next time we do it. And it lowers the defenses as we keep trying. So eventually we get to make those positive changes and feel them more explicitly. But let's notice the breath again, wherever your breath is right now. We can accept it, and that's where we find it. Can we all just find a bigger breath than our natural one, please? A mindful breath, one that's more intentional. Let's just notice how this bigger breath sounds, how it feels, and how it's moving the body for us. And then, as we always do, we can take some slightly quicker breaths as we're raising our awareness back to its normal waking state. Opening the eyes if you've got them closed, having a stretch, a shuffle, a drink, or whatever else you might need to do right now. Just bringing ourselves back to the waking state. Hopefully bringing back out a sense of mindful groundedness, a sense of stillness, restful alertness, and maybe even a bit of neutral too. Please, as always, we'll let the chat run for a few minutes, so if you want to pop anything on, any comments, questions, please do so. But hopefully you found that nice just on a Wednesday, just to pause and notice and sit in our experience. And then just to do a little bit of work and bring some positive change to it if we needed to. Lovely. Of course, it's nice to do that. One of the dangers is, as you're observing, let's say as I'm looking at the garden now, habits of the mind coming very quickly, don't they? So it's very easy to start going, okay, so that grass needs cutting, or that needs tidying up. So we can see the habitual thinking patterns, the doing habits of the mind. But in neutral, we want to just move back from those and just say, okay, that grass is getting a bit long. And that's the neutral state. What does long grass look like? What are the colours I can see? What are the textures? That's the mindful state where we want to push the mind into. And it's true, it might need, the grass is going to need cutting soon, but that will have its time when it comes. And that's where the power of noticing in neutral. Because, of course, if I'm thinking about doing those things, then my mind, body, and emotions are going to respond to that. And it's going to be another thing on my to-do list. And then it's going to be on my mind. And then I'm going to imagine myself doing it and the hassles I might have. And those cycles of thought that we go into can produce tension and stress and anxiety. So, okay, mowing the lawn might not be that stressful. It may well be. But the idea, of course, is then in other moments that we have in life, if we can stay in the neutral position until we actually need to do something in that moment, it just keeps that capacity that we want and moves us away from the stress state. So nice little practice. Try that if you like to other times as well. But also in the moment, remember, as you're out there busy in everyday life, you might notice that your mind is switching to doing mode and you can feel yourself tensing up and worrying about it. Can we take a step back? Can we pause? Can we do the same process we've done today in these sessions that we've had? And that's really when we get the power of it in the moment. Some moments we'll have the opportunity to do it. Other moments will be too big for us at this moment in time. But the more we practice, the more situations we'll find that we can do what we want to do in them. We can be how we want to be in them. And that's really the journey of mindfulness. Lovely. Well, thanks as always, guys. And as I say, we'll be back here for another session tomorrow. So if you can join us, wonderful, please do so. Take care, everybody, and we'll pick it up again soon. Thank you.